Today I'm going to be comparing apples to oranges. A lot of people say that you can't compare apples to oranges, but I contraire, mon frere.
It's important to briefly reflect on how we got here. The town acquired full ownership of ELK in 2009, and at that time it was intended as a long-term municipal investment. And this was done through the purchasing of the remaining shares from our partners Lakeshore and Kingsville for just over $13 million. At that time, the expectation was that ownership would provide strategic value as well as a financial return for the municipality. Over the years, however, that investment did not perform as originally intended. During the town's ownership, ELK generated only about $666,000 over the entire 18 years. That represents an average annual return of 0.28%, which is less than what we would have received had we have just held the cash in our bank account.
I do want to draw the public's attention to the table 3, and I'll have Mr. Greenwell turn back over to the report and advance to table 3 for the members of the public. Just very briefly here, it shows how our initial investment returns after the close of the sale throughout the years, if we annualize that, how that would compare to the conservative estimate that we anticipate the investment strategy will bring, being $600,000. So you can see there's quite a bit of difference here, and demonstrates the leadership through this decision-making process.
There's a couple of things I'm hoping to just bring out of this that resonate for me on a layman's term, that for our residents, is that over 18 years, this utility brought us $665,800. In our first year after selling it, we're going to put millions into our sports fields, our town hall, and a new fire station. And then in years going forward, we're going to pull a minimum of approximately $600,000 out to beef up our AMP, which is absolutely important. I know you guys are starting to hear from candidates that are running in the election, and you're hearing fiscal responsibility over and over because everybody's promising to be fiscally responsible. In my 8 years here, this is one of the most fiscally responsible acts that I've been part of, and I'm really proud of this team for taking this brave step. I support the administration's recommendation for our ELK legacy investment as it's presented. I understand your intent, but I don't think anybody can finesse it more than they have. And I just wanted to reiterate that for the public, because these reports are long and boring, and I don't think you're pulling these little pieces out. But $665,000 is what we got from this utility in the last 18 years. And in this first year going forward after selling it, we have millions that we're putting back in, and then annually coming out with that initial investment that's just going to sit there and make money for us. So I just wanted to bring the community's attention to that.
Thank you, Councillor Verbeek. I have Councillor McGuire-Blaze.
Thanks, through the chair. Just before we move on from this table that we're seeing, the previous investment, that was prior to sale. Is that correct? That was prior to sale. 37 million was the or 37,000 was the annual income, and then after sale, that's what we're looking at. That's the difference. Okay, thank you.
Okay, and then when we talked about the return on investment, you had the 15 million and you had the 13 million for ELK that we originally paid. That was the page I'm looking for, sorry, where it talks about the estimated dividends between the two. Table 3. I'm sorry, I'm giving you the wrong one. Yeah, so when we look at the 13 million, that was never money that the town actually, like, we didn't actually pay for that. So when we talk about our return on our average annual income, the town didn't actually pay 13 million for it. The dividends from ELK paid that 13 million, is my understanding. I wonder if anybody could speak to that, just so that we're clear on what our return was.
CEO Jurcevic.
Through the chair. So that is correct. There at the time of purchase, there was a dividend that was used to pay for the actual purchase of it. So that was not captured in here. the reason for that is that we really wanted to give it a comparative of dividend income received. That really went towards equity of the company. If that makes sense.
Okay, thank you.
But it's a good point to bring up, and
Can we run that back again? Did Rob Shepley just say that the $13 million investment to purchase ELK was funded out of a special dividend? Over a 20-year period, $13 million is $650,000 a year. Is that what I'm seeing? Rob, I need more clarity on how in 2008, Essex financed the purchase of the Lakeshore and Kingsville shares. Did they take on long-term debt and kind of spin it out as a special dividend? Because that makes a lot of sense given this article written by the Windsor Star quoting Mayor Sherry Bondi. Okay, we have here the Windsor Star article talking about NWIN purchasing ELK. This is written back in March 14th, 2025, a year and change ago. And they got Sherry talking about this stuff here, how many customers, this and that. They looked at potential buyers. Okay. And this is what I want to read. When the town of Essex purchased the shares from Kingsville and Lakeshore, it was purchased as an investment. But it really hasn't turned out to be an investment for the town of Essex because it's kind of been almost a money pit. The previous board of ELK had a mantra focusing on low rates and paying off debt, resulting in a lack of investment in infrastructure, she said. The previous board for the first 20 years of ELK's existence, between the years 2000 and 2021, when there was a new board. For the first 21 years of ELK's existence, the board had a mantra of keeping low rates and paying off debt. It was not in the business of milking its ratepayers and electricity holders in the towns of Essex, Lakeshore, Kingsville, Harrow, Bell River, Comber? We'll have to check the map. In order to spin out dividend payments to the town of Essex. This is not the type of investment a municipal utility is trying to do. When they talk about having an investment and having Kingsville and Lakeshore combine their operations with Essex, they're talking about having a regional electrical investment. They're talking about strengthen a community. They're talking about keeping electrical rates low so that it can attract business and retain business because your electricity rates are low. It's not about paying dividends. And so when you have table 3 looking at the cumulative amount of dividends that were issued from ELK to the town of Essex over the last 26 years, whatever period they were looking at, it's apples to oranges. Because for the first 21 years of its existence, the board realized we're not in the business of paying dividends. We're trying our best to pay down debt, to have a strong grid, and keep our rates low for all of our payers. So to put this table 3 together for all of council to look at and discuss and go, wow, yeah, as opposed to getting $35,000 a year dividend, we could be making $600,000 a year in interest from our municipal bonds. That's disingenuous. Those are two very different management styles and investment schemes, and it's not from the same board. The ELK board for the first 21 years was entirely different than the board of the last 5 years. So to base your entire investment strategy and entire, viewpoint of selling our regional electric utility in order to invest our dollars into other financial assets, giving up control of our community power. It's a different type of argument, and you're looking at apples and oranges and not the same thing. So I've had a lot of questions in the comment section of the previous videos asking kind of about this, and people regard, oh, we're going to go from 0.28% return to a 4% return, and that's going to be awesome. ELK's mandate was not about issuing dividends. It was never about achieving a 4% return and increasing our electric rates or not paying for infrastructure in order to get there. We were paying down debt, we were keeping rates low, and in fact, do your research, ELK had the lowest electrical rates out of the entire region. Some would say it was a well-run company. Some would say it was conducting its mandate well. Some would say it was a strong asset in the town of Essex portfolio.